Hey everyone! Today I want to share with you three of my, I call them studio essentials that will up your watercolor game. I don't know, I just find these really helpful and I'm so glad that I invested in them. So I'm talking about my studio palette for watercolors, my table easel or sketchboard, I think it's called also, and my studio light or my daylight lamp. And I'll just walk you through a few of the considerations that might help you decide which is right for you, if any. And I'll start with the lamp. I think that is kind of probably the most universally right, right for everyone item. I wish I had got mine sooner, especially if you're like me, you're in an area of the world that gets, very few sunlight hours in the winter, and, you need that good lighting to be able to paint properly. So I highly recommend, if you want to invest, and I highly recommend that you do, I think it's one of the best things that I've gotten for my painting area. So make sure you go for an artist lamp type of thing. I mean, there are a lot of like daylight lamps online. My husband got me one that, sits on your table, and it's very nice, but it's just not good enough for this purpose, in my opinion. So make sure you get something that is intended for artists, that it's strong enough. The thing you want to make sure is that it has an extending arm so that it's high on your surface, because again, the ones that are just sitting on your table, they're very low and it just doesn't work with the sort of space that I need. If you work in very small sizes, then maybe that would work for you. But if you do anything that is kind of like over, A4 size, get one that is extending. And also mine has a clamp, is that the word, a clamp, that it attaches to the side of the table. So that makes it really sturdy, and you don't want it to take up your table real estate space, because we all know that stuff is expensive and you don't want like a huge lamp taking up a lot of space. So make sure it has that extending arm, and I really recommend getting one that clamps to your desk. Of course, you have to see that your furniture is suitable to that. And also, if you order a lamp from another country, make sure that the whole voltage and socket, electrical socket and everything is compatible with where you are in the world, okay? Make sure. And then the last thing that I think is important about this type of lamp, you want it, I know there are different designs, but I think the best ones are the ones that are kind of elongated, that can give you a lot of light and that kind of broad lighting and not a spotlight. So that's the one I have. The particular model that I haven't been able to find, so I can't link you to that. They sold out. I got mine from Jackson's a year ago probably, but I will link you to similar things that seem good to me and have like good reviews. And yeah, I highly recommend it. It has really helped me paint and just have better light and see colors better. So the second thing I want to talk about is the studio palette. Now, this is probably the type of thing that might take some trial and error until you find something that works for you, or maybe you will find that your needs change as your style develops. I certainly found that out. So currently I have the Jackson's 19 Wells porcelain palette or ceramic palette. I think it's porcelain, and I absolutely love it. For me at the moment it works really well. I squeeze paint kind of, sometimes I use it fresh, most of the time I use it dried and I re-wet it. But I kind of have wells kind of for my yellows, a well for my pinks, a well for my violets, and then I just squeeze in a paint, sometimes different shades. as I paint. And that works better for me than to have a huge palette with all the colors that I have in smaller amounts, which is what I had before. I had the Robox palette, which is fantastic, but I got the huge one with a gazillion little wells. And now that I'm kind of drawing a little bit bigger with bigger brushes, I don't like digging my brushes into those small wells. And I also don't feel the need of having all my colors or most of them in front of me at all times. So I do enjoy working with a more limited palette, but I just change up the colors in it according to my mood and preferences at any given day or week or, you know, time of season or whatever. So, you know, you have to take under consideration the space that you have in your painting area. Obviously, if you have a small space, you'll need something more compact. Also, if you want something that functions as a studio palette and as something you can take with you to paint outside or travel or something, then you have to figure out what works. Obviously, such a heavy porcelain palette is only for your... I'm doing this because it's here. I know you can't see it, but it's here, I promise. So obviously you have to think about that. What I like, if you take a look, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I know it's a dangerous place, but the Robax palettes, they have a lot of configurations, and I have considered maybe purchasing another one that is smaller with fewer colors and bigger wells, and then I could switch out the wells and just put in the colors that I want to use at any given painting session. But it wouldn't take up so much space on my desk, and I wouldn't have like all the colors in smaller wells. So I might consider that. I'm thinking about this one, the 40 something palette, and I'll show you an image here. And I already have like the rotating piece that make these palettes so nice to use, that you can rotate them so easily. And so I would only need that part that has the wells and the inserts. And I really like that whole concept. So I'm not sure, I might get it. For now, I'm pretty happy with my porcelain palette, but the Robax palettes have so many advantages. You know, you can switch the inserts. They have also a ceramic insert that I actually own and really enjoy mixing colors in it. It's very white as opposed to the material that their palettes are made of, which has a slightly gray tint to it. But that ceramic insert is kind of pure white and is beautiful for mixing colors, and it fits into your palette, whichever design you choose from their round ones, I think. So I really like that. And also they have travel palettes that you can choose that will have the same size wells as your studio palette. So then you could take a smaller palette with less wells with you on the road, and then you don't have to like squeeze extra paint into a separate palette. So I don't know, that makes a lot of sense to me, but I don't have the right setup for now for me with Robax, but I think their products are fantastic and they have a ton of great designs. I highly recommend it. So the last studio equipment item that I want to mention is my desk table sketch easel board. I found different words to describe this. So this is the one that I have, and again, that exact one I haven't been able to find on Amazon, so I will link you to something similar. Mine is A2 size, and again, on the Amazon.com in the US, the sizes are different, and the one that I found that is most similar to what I have is slightly smaller. So A2 size is pretty big. It's like 70 centimeters wide. And for me, that is great. I have the space on my desk, and I can also use my huge cutty journal on it, and I can clip my reference photos on top of it, and you know, you can tilt it to a few angles, and it's fantastic. And I definitely recommend getting the one that is just a board, as opposed to the ones that have like holes in them. Holes is not the right word. I'll put a picture of what I mean, that I don't think you should get if you work similarly to how I work. Because many times I work on just a loose sheet of paper and I don't tape it to anything. And for those purposes, having that board right there for you is really, really helpful. So I don't have to tape it to another board and then put that board on my easel. So I absolutely love mine. I use it all the time. I mostly paint, when I paint with watercolors, I mostly paint with a bit of an angle and not completely flat. You know, gravity also helps watercolors to flow, so it makes total sense to me. And yeah, it's not that expensive. I think it's rather inexpensive, and it's one of those things that are just really helpful. Again, for that tilt, to have this nice surface to work on single sheets of paper, or in my journal to have the possibility to clip my reference photos and not have them just somewhere lying around. So I highly recommend all three of these items, and hopefully, you know, you can find something that suits your style of painting and your space. So definitely, if you have a very small space and you want such a table easel type of thing, then go for a smaller one that will work for you. They have also options with like storage drawers on the bottom. So again, if you have a small space, that might be worth considering to kind of maximize the use of this. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye.